Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. Welcome to the Fatherhood Think Tank. It is the 60 to 90 minutes of intellectual conversation um, for fathers, by fathers, about fathers. Um, Tonight, we have a very interesting topic tonight. Um, Probably not as interesting, but more reflective. Our mindset to become, I think, of reflective. Um, I see that probably a lot of people are running late. I see Brother Tenny here. It's good to see him here, and I didn't have to come on here by myself and do what the one thing I hate to do all the time is talk by myself. So one thing I don't like to talk to the screen and talk to the invisible man. So he's here, and we're gonna just get into the nice show. Before we do that, I'm gonna talk a little bit about our sponsors for the night, and then we're gonna get into the topic that Brother Tenney introduce himself and get into this conversation. Tonight's sponsors, as always, is Zeta Chi, Fort Lauderdale Q's Zeta Chi chapter of Omega Psi Phi in Fort Lauderdale, longtime sponsor from the beginning of the Fatherhood Think Tank. Um, uh, I can't think of how this doesn't work within the confines of their fatherhood initiative program that we work within conjunction with. So that we want to acknowledge our first main sponsor, Data Chapter. Then we have our JAG, attorney at law. That's Miami Dade, Broward, West Palm Beach. Um, JAG attorney at law is Johnny A. Gaspar Esquire. His phone number is 305 827 8087. If you're trying to find out more information about his law practices and his law firm, hit him at www.jag1law.com. That's Johnny A. Gaspar Esquire, JAG Law, attorney at law. All right. And we're going to get right into tonight. I'll let Ed introduce himself, and then I'll give the theme for tonight's show.
Well, good evening, Dr. Ron. My name is Ed Tenney. I am transitioning to a single dad. I am a father of three, age range 30 to 38. Man, all of them will be turning a year older in the next couple of months. So I got a bunch of old fogies in the quiver. I have one grandbaby and one on the way, and it's a pleasure to be here as always. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. All right, look who comes in right as the bell is ringing. Brother Lightborn.
That's the story of my life. Hey, good evening, gentlemen. My name is Mike Bourne. I'm a father to a tribe of 7 young adults, three young women, 4 young men, one granddaughter, one grandson, and it's always a pleasure to be here.
So, I'm Dr. Ron, the curator of the Fatherhood Think Tank. And tonight's show, conversation, I said show, conversation, was sparked probably for a number of reasons. For one, over the weekend, I attended a funeral for Michael Archer. Uh, Somebody say, well, some people may know who Michael Archer is, right? Because normally we only know people by their celebrity names, not their actual true names. Michael Archer. Michael Archer is Michael D'Angelo Archer of the Archer family, whose family is 2, 3 generations of uh, ministers. His father was a minister. His grandfather was a minister, owned church, big archers in Richmond, Virginia. But what really made me come with this idea for the night show is that, at his funeral, the main three people that spoke was his children. He had children at different age. He had an older son, Michael Jr., who is who very difficult. I felt the difficultness for me, so I know it was difficult for him. Michael Archer Jr. Michael Archer the third. He may be. Let me get that right. Michael Archer the third is the son of D'Angelo and Angie Stone. So you can only imagine, understand Angie Stone uh, went to the ancestors maybe about 3 months ago. So you're looking at, I can tell you exactly when it was because she was traveling to the MEAC tournament. So that was in like March of 2000, late March, early April of 2025. Then his dad died just earlier this month on the 15th. And imagine seeing the strength of this young guy. I mean, he's of age, he's an adult, but a young guy come up who have lost both parents in the same year. And what he had to, he said about his mother and his mother's funeral, and kind of what he could even fester to say about his father. So basically, you just say, I'm here, right? And he talked a little bit about the idea of after his mother passed, his dad, as fathers do, despite obviously everyone was knowing that despite him being battling his own sickness, he went and spent like 2 months actually spent the rest of probably his time with that son, and then the rest of his children. And he has a daughter, 24, and then he has like a younger son, um, And to hear them speak about their father and things about their father sparked my idea of say, I know what Tuesday's show is going to be about. Because then more as we know, as birth happens and life is created, we know that death comes, and it's just interesting to wonder what people will say. But I think as fathers, I think that starts our topic. What do you want your children to say at your funeral? Because there's many things they can say. That is a time that probably be one of the few times in their life that it will be on front stage for them to say what they want, and no one has anything to really say about it, or really be able to really challenge anything that they're saying or how they're saying it. So I think that's a really really good aspect of that. So that's where this theme is coming from. I think another brother, and I think I said last week he had passed away. Um, Kevin Wardall, a good friend of mine in Jacksonville. And I'm just looking, and I keep seeing more and more people, every day, it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But now it's not the one, you used to have a whole thing, we had the 3 people, 1, 2, 3. Now it's, just like there used to be 7 degrees of separation between us in the world. Now it's only maybe 3 degrees. It reversed to how many deaths happened in a row. Now we went from 7, from 3 now to almost 7. And that's something just to think about. And I think if any it says anything to us, is to remind us how and what we do with the time we have right now. I really think about it. And you have to think about, as a father, what are you doing with the time that you have right now, and how will that time be looked at for your children, who are ultimately your legacy, who will continue being and doing what you are. So I throw it out there to you guys, your thoughts. The question is open to you, but I think that we can get more into that conversation of uh, how this comes about, but I want to first just throw that question out to you guys. Not rushing you, not trying to become a pallbearer already. I'm not trying to be a pallbearer anytime soon, but definitely, would like for you to share some light to the bigger crowd, what that thought is for you. And as you're watching, folks, hey, just hit the button, like, share, subscribe. If you want to ask questions, type in on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching, just type in. We'll answer those questions, have interaction. This is a conversation. It's not a lecture. I'll throw it over to Ed R. Lightborn.
When I saw the top, Dr. Ron, it did give some reflection. I guess when I, put some thought into what I'd like them to say, I would want them to be authentic in telling the truth, or what they felt is the truth about me. I've been to a few funerals in my lifetime, and have known some people, coming from various stages and personalities, if you will, and you know sometimes there can be some embellishment that kind of goes on during the eulogy and talks about that individual, and I'm like, okay, all right, well, if that's what you need to do to you know to say, if that's what you need to say, okay, I may not necessarily agree with the embellishment, because that's not the person that I knew. Not that it was terribly bad, but I guess I wouldn't want my kids to have to stretch the truth in order to make me look good, or feel like I'm a good person or something like that. I would just hope that they would just tell the truth, whether they thought I was a good father or a bad father. I would just really want them to uh, let the hearers know that this is who I was, good, bad, or indifferent. Um, I, I wouldn't want them to try and cover, over any um, um, deficiencies that I may have had. Hopefully, I would have been a more positive influence than a negative influence. Um, but if I made some mistakes that they have learned from, I guess I would want them to tell the truth about that,
Right.
because that would be beneficial to somebody else, I think. So just the truth, just the plain, simple truth. Don't be making up nothing.
As you say that, and I think that is, it's probably one of the more important and one of the more profound things that we would hope that people would do. And sometimes people would feel like, oh, that, sometimes because they'll say something they would say in the church, or I mean, at that time or at that moment, that, why do you say that? But a lot of times, that's what I think a lot of people would want you to do. Like, I mean, what was that? Recently, there was a visual, viral clip of a guy going off on the people that was at the funeral, right? Saying that, I don't know why y'all here, because if my dad was here, he would tell you get out and get out and get out. And that's a stream, right? But it is the truth, probably. It is, because who would know better how someone feels about people and how they, how they might, what they might have told people, other than, I know for sure my father tells me all the things that needs to be told about whatever. He probably tells me more than he tells any other of my siblings, right? So there is that point where I would know what to do, what not to do, how to do it. Um, it isn't to my discretion, because as he always say, you can do whatever you want because I'll be dead, right? And that's his humor, right? His humor is like, it don't matter what I say and do, y'all, you'll do whatever you want to do because there ain't nothing I can do about it, and because it be what it be. But I think that of honoring people's wishes, and I think that part of being honest and transparent about what they and who and what they were, and not because as you do see sometimes that there is this embellishment or that, like, everything was hunky dory, life was great. It was no, and that sets a tone for I think some type of dishonesty of the true challenges of life, right? We know as humans we may not be perfect. We may not have everything go our way, but there are moments that we can see in the good, the bad, and the ugly, and present it and understand that nobody is immune to the good, the bad, the ugly, because we all face the same thing as humans. It's not like, oh, none of this ever affects me. I'm super great, super fine. Lightborn, I see your wheels are turning. So let you get the burning.
My children. Wow, you talking about the tribe of 7 young adults?
Yeah, that's I'm at 3 to 5 minutes each. That's a lot of
Right.
talk.
You talking about man? That's like seven narratives. You count the 2 grandchildren. That's 9 narratives. So it's hard to say because they have different personalities. So the interactions and the relationships were definitely different. I think um, for my children, it's because the dynamics were so different with all 7 of them. Um, some would, I think the girls were more, well, 2 out of 3 of the girls were more expressive to me than the boys. The boys, I couldn't get too much out of them. My youngest son, Nathan, he's more expressive than anything else. My oldest son, he think he's too cool. You know how that is. But I think I have a model that all of them can live by. And I'm always consistently repeating this to them throughout their whole childhood. And that motto goes like this: I'm your dad, but God is your father. And that's the motto that I always reiterate, because I let them know that anything good that comes from me actually comes from him. And so anything bad that comes from me. I'm very clear about that. Like, everything you do like comes from him. Everything you don't like comes from me. And so, well, I'm on this show, so you guys know I'm an open book. I'm a person that will confront you on what needs to be confronted, what needs to be said. I'm not one of those people that say, I don't live by that motto. If you don't have anything nice to say, I don't know. Like, sometimes you may have something necessary to say. So I have 2 options. I'm not limited to just having something nice to say. I have something necessary to say. You're going to probably hear it. And my children are recipients of that. They're the litmus test of that. What you would get on this show and get in society, be it on this show, be it on anybody's show, in any publication, is what they get triple time when it comes to being their dad. And it's not so much that I have all these high expectations of them. I'm like, no, that's not what it is. I want you to have high expectations of yourself. I don't put things on you. I'm like, you're responsible for you're responsible for your own dreams. You're responsible for your own goals. I think when it comes to aspirations, I wanted them to be independent in having them. And so I wanted them to be individuals. It's 7 of them, but they could all be their own individual. But I do, and I was always clear with them on this. I said, man, I'm your biggest cheerleader. And if I'm your cheerleader and I'm your biggest fan, I need you to be my hero. You understand? So it's not so much about what they're gonna say about me, but I always let them know what I have to say about them. And I'm like, I'm your dad, but I'm also your fan. And if I am your fan, I need you to be my hero. And so I'm always, that is my expectation. You understand? So I'm like, whatever that looks like for you, I want to always be your fan, and I want you to always be my hero. Again, whatever that look like to you. And so just simply doing the right thing makes me your fan, and guess what? Makes you my hero. And so that's when you got seven children. That's the dynamics that you have to balance that those different personalities. You understand? But you still um, have to love them each differently. You know, so what they say will be 7 different books. Maybe 7 different books. One may be a drama, one may be a horror movie, one may be I don't know. One may be a comedy. I just don't know. But you may get like 7 different movies out of 7 different children when it comes to talking about me. But you know, I think as much as they may not say it, because I think sometimes they think daddies are superheroes, and they don't think that dads um sometimes they don't think they can do much for dads and something like that. Anytime you appear to be and not so much strong but confident, and you're always there to be some type of protector and provider, then sometimes your children don't think you need anything. But the truth of the matter is, you do. You need to know that you're appreciated. You need to know that you love. And so I would rather them say that while I'm alive than at my funeral. You understand? And,
Right.
and so that's what I would like to know about. Because again, what they say at my funeral, it really wouldn't matter because I wouldn't be here to hear it anyway.
I see that Robert Gene Robert Menard.
J. Rob? That ain't J. Rob. J. Rob.
Yes,
I thought he got rich and moved to Canada somewhere.
He must be still getting set up.
Yeah.
What's going on, fellas?
What's up, J. Rob?
Hey, man, hanging in there, hanging in there. That's why, you know, it's been a little tough getting on here, but I'm on here tonight. Here. So the topic, I was listening on through Facebook, and then I said let me jump on because I was listening to what everyone was saying, and I think you guys touched a little bit on something that I feel that I would like to have mentioned by my kids. You know, one thing I'm very simple with it, I guess. And the number one thing for me is that I want them to be like he was present, right? Um, no matter what it is that they did in life, I tried to always be there to like Born said, to cheer them on, to be their biggest cheerleader. I was actually having a conversation that I was asking them, you know, what is it that you feel like I there was a video out about parenting and stuff like that, and I was like, yo, is would you describe me as this? And then my daughter chimed in. My daughter was like, yeah. She goes, one thing that you always did was you were very supportive. You were like, even if you're gonna be a bum, I want you to be the best bum you can possibly be. So I will help you in every aspect. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like me. She goes, no, you did say that because you always told us to be, no matter what we did in life, try to do it to the best of our ability. And so, you know, I always want them to feel as if they were supported, they had somewhere to fall back on, to lean on. And so I think, you know, that would be the number one thing, would be that he was there, he was present.
Mm-hmm. And that you know that is very important. I think that sometimes we don't even think about how important that is, right? And not just what someone else defines as present, right? Because your kids define what is present based on the situation that they may find themselves in. Because you know they can say your dad is lived with you, but he wasn't very present, right? He stayed in the house, he paid the bills, I seen him in the morning when he went to work. When we went on vacation, I seen him. But being present in my life, he wasn't that present. And he could have been. But then also some dads, who would like to be present and don't, and sometimes I hear this so often, right? And I guess it's just becoming a cycle where, like, if somebody want to do something, they'll do it. And I hear that. I hear that. But in some instances, you have to remember what some of the setbacks is to just say you want to do some things. If you have a blank sheet of paper, and a pencil and an envelope to write a letter and send a letter to somebody, you have that ability. But if you don't have anything, if you don't get access, you're locked away in a cell, or the person's locked away in a cell and you can't get to them, you're not gonna be able to get any message to them. You're not gonna be able to even let them know that you're alive. So there is some challenges, but I think that when I think that is occurring, you have to always, as I like to say, you got to stay ready for when your time is. You got to act like you're on the bench playing behind the superstar. The second that they go down, you want to jump in and do your thing the best that you can do, because the coach may be saying, I only want these people to be in the game. And eventually at some point you might have to get in the game. Are you going to be ready? Are you going to be prideful? You're going to be spiteful? Be like, I ain't been in the game all this time. We losing. Now you want me to get in the game. You never know what you can do. And so I definitely say be ready. Be ready, be ready, be ready, because kids are watching. They're watching and they're learning. I mean, I was just having a conversation with somebody in reference to, like, what kids see is what they learn to be, right? You can tell them one thing, but if they see you do another thing, that's what they're learning to say, that's how I'm going to operate. Even though they told me not to smoke cigarettes, as they go outside in the car and smoke cigarettes, 9 times out of 10, you might be telling me not to do it, but I'm learning how to do it because I see you do it. And that goes for how relationships operate, how people involve themselves in relationships. I think of a lot of times people are saying, "Hey, we're not making it, but we need to stay together for this child, right? We need to stay together." And the way they treat each other, staying together, is the most treacherous type of relationship you could ever see. Because they're saying we need to do this for the child so the child has a better life, a better way. And not thinking
Ron,
about
that's ironic. And I'm gonna tell you why. I think you can't, and this is where we so dysfunctional at. You can't have an objective like because I think we have more of our relationship with our children is an objective, right? And so see it like this: our relationship with our children become an objective, and our relationship with each other become an option. You understand how dysfunctional that is?
right.
Because I'm saying that to say this, I'm like, well, both of them, I'm like, both of these relationships are equally as important, but why the imbalance? Why? And this is how society pushes stuff. And so I'm like, listen, if the relationship with you guys are going to be an option, eventually the relationship with you and your child is going to be an option.
Right.
You may think it's not, but it will be. And so we really believe that relationship, and this is the burden that we put on our children sometimes too. We put such a burden on having a commitment with our children and not each other, as if they're not children. You understand? And adults are built for commitment, not children. And so this is where the dynamics and the viscery and the bitterness and the fighting come in at, because we often fail our children at the adults that we are. And so what we try to do is live vicariously through the child relationship, our relationship with the child, because we felt our relationship as adults with each other. And so we don't even put a standard or an expectation. I love when people talk about we have values and standards and all this crap. I'm like, you sure, if you have it, you sure don't live it out. Because if you did, you'll put a greater emphasis on how you're going to stay together and be with each other, and just as much as you raising that child. And where it is the child relationship outweigh the parent, the mother and father relationship. That is asinine. I'm going to tell you straight up, it is. I don't care how you swing it, because the minute y'all break up, that child is broken. You may think not, but contrary to probably scientifically, he is. Or she is.
But I think this is what the point I'm trying to make on that is there is a way to separate yourself from someone who that a lot of times the reason why things are being separated and being in a bad place, because the people feel like they don't want to be in that place with a person, right? So it takes you to be adults to have communicate and say, okay, we might not can make what we're making, but we can make what we're making for our child. And that means that we have to have a relationship. We don't have to have like our relationship doesn't have to be in the same, and that's the confusion I think of it. We think that to have we don't know how to define the different relationships we have with people. We see this with women. We have men who think that, only relationship I can have with a woman is some that is sexual. And then because we only can have a sexual relationship, when people see you in that, people begin to say, well, he friends, they ain't friends. He waiting for his moment. She's not a friend. She's waiting to try to get with. When that's a theory that people are a construct that people begin to make. That's not the reality, because if that was the case, what do you say about brothers and sisters? Brothers and sisters know how to collaborate and have relationships that don't have to be romantic. I think that other human beings have that same ability, because attraction is not only sexual. Attraction is attraction that men have to each other. That's why I hang around these guys and not those guys. I'm attracted to them, but because we have this warped sexual miseducation that I would like to call it, we gravitate every relationship to having some type of sexual, or it has to have some type of thing that has to be deviant. And we can learn very clearly that no matter what religion you're in, relationship is about love. Not romance, not sex, but about love. And then what you do for your friend, like a friend, if you have a friend. People who are out here bumping uglies, they're not really friends. They might be sex partners, but they're not. A lot of times they're not friends, because once they become in a friend part, there's a different kind of respect you have, different kind of boundary you set. You also want what's best for them, and it's very clear, and we know this, that when people are in these sexual relationships and it's not clear boundaries, somebody's getting hurt.
Okay. Well,
I want to take it back
Go ahead,
2
Ron.
steps. Yeah. Okay. So I want to take it back to 2 things. And if I heard correctly with Lightborn, because it was going in and out. I want to touch on what he was saying, because I want to follow up with just expanding on that a little bit. I think another thing that we do with our kids and adults do is set unrealistic expectations, right? So, and I think so. If I heard right, like I'm going from the aspect of a father who's not living in the home and what they would want their kids to say about them, right? And so I think Ron was saying how there's that gatekeeping situation when it comes to the parenting and everything like that. And I think fathers should strive for their kids to say he tried. There's nothing worse than trying to blame the gatekeeper for you not being ready, like Ron was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as you keep trying and making that effort and they understand and see that effort, it goes a long way for them to understand what it is that you really expected to have with them when it came to a relationship, right? So men oftentimes who are in that situation tend to back off, because it's like they give the gatekeeper the power when It's you who truly have the power to continue on. It's about keeping yourself motivated. It's about looking down the road rather than looking at what's in front of you. So I think one thing that they should often strive for is that the kids to say he tried, he wanted to be there. I understand what happened where he couldn't be there, but he always gave it his all. Right. And even after that, like Ron, I don't know if Ron, you said it this time, but those letters that you always say that fathers should be writing to their kids to tell them how they feel, what they think, what they wanted. Those are the type of things that they should have in place so that in the end, if I can't have that type of relationship, at least you know what it is, how I felt, and what you meant to me. And I think that's also plays a powerful role in shaping the thought process of a child, like Lightborn was saying, because whether or not you're there, you are making an impact. Whether or not you're present, you're making an impact on this child's life, whether it's positive or negative.
Mhm.
Right. And so I just want to touch on that because I think it's important for everyone to understand that there's not a lot out here for fathers, right? So the most important thing you can do is be a force within your child's life. And then when we start talking about the unrealistic expectations, you have fathers who are like, well, my kid didn't call me today. Okay, so why didn't you call them, their kids,
Right.
right? You assign adult responsibility to a 5-year-old. And we have to get rid of those ideas that a kid is going to be a kid. They're not going to always be thinking, let me call someone. They're going to be thinking, let me play, let me have fun. It's up to you to be present and make something habitual for the kids in order for them to have that excitement about when they see you, when they hear from you. When you don't call, they'll miss you. That is what you have to start doing, and that's about setting the values and standards and passing on heritage and all this other stuff that goes into the role of parenting, that we have to always remember that kids are going to be the kids that we develop them to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's also important. You gonna
Hey,
say something, Lightbulb?
Rob, I thought I'm just gonna be blunt with you. I
Uh-huh.
think I think because I have my kids so young, I think sometimes it's just my psychological, sociological observation that because I had them young, my first kid at probably 19, I was just graduating high school, and I think they think that I have life so great that they really don't show how grateful they are. You understand? And so they may be grateful, and this is where so it's in reverse for me, right? Because you would rarely don't you what would expect from our like men. You say men be this way, but what happens when the kids are that way? And so my children don't really reciprocate like I would with them. I would tell them I love them. I would do blah 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 blah, but I don't get the same thing back. I would call them more than they call me, but I don't get the same thing back. And so sometimes I think they think I'm more okay than I really am. You understand? And just because I have a certain level of confidence, a certain level of courage, a certain level of swag, of course, but a certain level of cool, sometimes your children believe that you're in need of nothing. They don't believe that their presence or who they are can add to who you are. And I think they're under that false because there's nothing I've done to actually put them under that. I'm like, I'm gonna live my life to the best of my ability, but it doesn't mean you don't have a responsibility to reciprocate of what I give you. And I'm making my business to send some type of inspiration out to them, even if I didn't call them. You understand? But I might hear from my oldest son. I can just be blunt. I might hear from him what it is, Father's Day and birthday or something like that, and maybe one or two times in between. And again, I know they got their own life and different things like that, but that's just the landscape and the relationships I got to deal with. And so it can tend to be a little envious when you hear other people have a certain level of engagement with their children that you may not have with yours. And again, did I sow that? Hell no. they was on. I made sure, even when I didn't have the capacity and the affordability to do it, that I stuck to them 2 vacations, them family vacations a year. That never ended. I mean, that happened when they all the way. Matter of fact, it's still happening now. We're getting ready to go
But
to the bar.
Lightborn,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to say this because it's not that I don't disagree with what you're saying, right? But I think you said it in the beginning when you said you have 7 kids, 7 different personalities, and 7 different relationships. If you count the grandkids, those are separate too. So what you're saying is the different type of relationships that you have, which it does happen. But I guarantee you gave them that premise of what you just said because of the type of person that you are. You're not and from the time that I've known you, you haven't been the person that's going to sit there and be woe is me. You see what I'm saying? So because of the strength that you have, you will give someone the premise that he's good, he's all right. Unless you say, I'm not doing good, I'm not okay, I need ABC. You see what I'm saying?
Gene, that is, and it's so funny that we're having this conversation because that is what the norm is to be accepted as fathers, right?
Exactly.
It is this idea that you should be okay that your kids will call their mom 3 and 4 times a day. Mom just calls you and don't call you at all. I mean, literally, they may not call you. Even and listen, they may need something from you and still don't call you. They get their mom to call you to ask you and to get with it. And it's just and at some point it becomes this kind of point. And I speak directly for myself. I can continue to reach out to my child. She responds, but she doesn't initiate anything, right? And that's not her though. I understand that that's not her because our relationship as a young child wasn't like that. She initiated a lot of things with me. It's just that in this time and space, that doesn't happen that way. It's not. It doesn't have. It's not happening. And again, like I said, I stay. You can go and look at her chat and look at her text messages and look at her phone log, and you'll see I'm punching in as much as everything. Listen, her birthday was yesterday. I was in boom boom. I told her when a gift was coming. I said all these things. Thanks. That's the response. Thanks. I since like very short man, and I understand. I understand because our relationship was a lot more. And I understand because she's like me probably. I'm not a text person. I'd rather speak to you in person. I'd rather be
Yeah.
around. I'd rather have and so she doesn't know how to really respond in that and then also dealing with whatever else boundaries may be in her house or her household. So that is what it is, or whatever that works. And again, that's why Lightborn said in that, and it sparked in me that this is a lesson that we as men and as fathers have to learn that sometimes we can't get our panties in a wad, right? We have to realize that that's all happening and no one has a problem with it. Only we do. And then if we voice that problem, there may be some questions about what's wrong with us. We being sensitive, being some kind of way. Are you being sassy? Are you? Oh, you. What do you want from it? And I think that that's a thing that I say that at this point we might need to be advocating, so we can change that somewhat in the idea that hey, daddies need love too.
But Ron, I hear what you're saying. Okay. I I think it's a generational thing, right? Because we're of an older generation, and we're I think this group right here reflects the generation that we're from. Where
Yeah.
if we were to go to our kids today and be like, "Yo, we need to talk. I want to see you more," they're gonna be like, "Are you sick? Are you dying?" You know what I'm saying? Because
That's a good point.
Yeah, and because of the it's a generational thing. Like nowadays, you know, we're putting into the younger kids coming up now that you can be more expressive. You can you can show a little bit more emotion. But I think, and this is my opinion, and it's just, I think sometimes it's taken to a over degree. You see what I'm saying? Where that's where it's like, yo, you know, you can show emotion, but control it. You can express yourself, but understand there's still a time and a place. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I'm making sense, but like I think with
Listen, let me say, Gene, listen. It's this topic is so complicated that it's not looking for the script words for it. It don't exist because it's not even a conversation that people are even readily having. So right now we
right,
are breaking ground on something that you may not really get. Like I said earlier, this deep conversation that is almost very difficult just to be able to express in a tangible way because it is so much in our mind of one way that why even say anything?
Hey,
Just be strong.
Ron, I'm gonna do a confession real quick. And so when we on this show, I hear Teeny, and I hear Teeny relationships with his kids, and and it takes me straight into my Bernie Mac mode with my kids. I'm like, wait a minute, you can get all of that out of your kids? So I started thinking about my kids like these son of a bitch. I'm like, wait a minute. Teeny can get all of that out of 3 kids. I got 7 of you, you jokers, and I. And so when I think about it, but I thought about it, I said, but your disposition, your delivery, their experience, their conditioning is not Teeny. Teeny's a very gentle soul. Me, I'm very dogmatic. And so I think there was a certain level of intimidation that may stunt the appreciation of my children, that they may not feel, sometimes they may not feel like they're good enough to be my children. Not that I make them feel like that, but sometimes maybe how you carry yourself, because I'm like, listen, I remember I told you, we're not grown men, we're growing men. I'm like, listen, I still have dreams and goals I want to achieve, but it was never at the expense of y'all. You understand? And so I'm letting them know that, listen, even as your father, I still have goals and dreams and aspirations where it will seem like for some father, or just the stereotype of fathers, that we don't. And so when you tend to keep striving as your kids are still striving, then it may look like a competition to them. You understand? Now understand that I'm like, I'm a human being with goals and dreams that I haven't accomplished yet as well. But it never stopped me from being your father, and I never sacrifice you as my child, you understand, to achieve my dreams and my goals. So I think a lot of those dynamics may play in to relationships that I have with my children. Again, I am fairly young in age with my children, and I still look, a certain way. And so sometimes that can be received as different. Maybe if I wasn't as young as I am, or keep myself up a certain way, or stay engaged and stuff like that, because I think sometimes when you in the know and they're in the know and they're like, well, Dad, they may feel like you may be on the same level and not see me as the father I really am, versus the almost like a brother type situation where they feel like
Well, they
you
don't.
know
They
what,
don't.
more perception is what you're saying is, but you'll be surprised at the perception that you have versus the perception your children have about who you are, and it's day and night. Because I remember, sitting down with my daughter one time at lunch, and we were just having like general conversation. And the stuff that she was saying, I was like, "That's how you feel? That's what you think?" And she's like, "Yeah." Well, my perception was like total opposite, because I'm like, like you said, you know, I talk to my daughter every so often, but it's not as frequently as I would like it to be. You know what I'm saying? because she's doing her thing. She's she's doing she's living life. So, but when we get together, we have conversations and the stuff that we talk about. It's amazing just how they perceive where you fit in versus how you perceived where you fit in. So hearing you say this, it's like sometimes we just need to have that candid conversation with our kids to say, hey, you know what? It's not that I need you to toot my horn, but I just need to know that you felt like I gave you what you needed and you still feel like you can come to me if you need something. And just hear what they have to say, because you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised on what you get back.
But let me give the other part of that. In their defense, because I can't say it's totally a washout. Teeny is not a total washout. But what I will say, when I need them to show up, they show up. Like when we have family get-togethers and reunion, they all showed up. And I think, and this is the part I love about them, I think they tried to surprise me. That's the part that I can't, because I think sometimes I'm a hard guy to surprise. But I think they do their best to try to surprise me, to show me that they can show up in ways that I won't expect them to. So I will give them kudos on that. They get top-notch marks on that. But every time we do, because they know, and I told them, I'm like, listen, my joy is spending time with you guys. So as much as I can salvage and get the family together in a place where we can all be together, with all differences aside, you understand, that's my greatest joy for them. That never stopped being old for me. Ever since, when I was young to right now, that was always the exciting part. Spending time with literally spending time with them is the most exciting things. And now they can tell you that they're like, Jesus,
but
more fun.
Who was about to talk? You was about to talk, Teddy?
No, I was saying they would let you know that I was having I have more fun spending time with them than they have fun spending time with me.
And I think this is a part of the construction that has been established. There is this overall belief that as dads, we really don't want to spend time with them. Right? We would rather be doing or not even that, we would rather that we need to really be working. We really need to be doing whatever we can to provide for them. And it's been impressed upon us so much that when you see dads in this nurturing position, people are turning their nose up to say, he must don't got no job, or he must don't. Listen, I want you to think about this. If you see a guy who has ability to work from home or have the ability to have finances to do certain things that look as motherly duties, but really are parent duties, people will frown on that person. And because our society says, oh, he must ain't got no job, he got time to be with the kids. No man ain't got no time to be with no. I heard this a million times. The man ain't got no time to be with no kids. He got to be doing something else. Whereas I think that is one of the biggest myths or misnomers in this society for fathers, that fathers don't want to be bothered with their kids. They definitely do. They definitely want to spend the time with their kid. And you won't get to see it. But I think about this. A brand new baby is born in a household. The father would like to go change the baby's diaper. He would like to spend time with, but you got mama, auntie, sister, all these other people who will immediately say, oh, he ain't got time. Let me get the baby. Oh, let me get the baby. So it starts this whole narrative that dad is on the outside. He's over here. And guess what? He really wants to be over there. That's not true. I believe that I'm hearing enough that that's not true. Dad wants to be over there outside of the box in the circle of the child. But because so many other people have this belief, they have this perception that that's not what he want to do. And you can't, I'll tell you, you do not really see this until you see some single dads raising their kids on their own. And you really get to see this dynamic of a dad wanting and having a certain type of, and I think this is a big part of where Tinny comes off, right? Because he was with his kids for how long were you with your kids after your wife passed?
was 54 when my wife passed. So, yeah, long time. I think my youngest was about 18, 19.
Right.
So
And then,
they were pretty much grown.
right. But let me ask you this, Tim, and this is the point I'm making. After the passing of your wife, the relationship that you had with them, right, became a lot because now it was just one parent to focus everything, right? Your relationship became like this is our parent, this is the only parent we got. So good, bad, and ugly, everything is gonna come towards and with him. He can't be too busy to work because we ain't got nobody else, right? He can't say, I'm over here doing this, go talk to your mom, because that doesn't exist. Everything has to be done on that. And it is genuine, right? It's a genuine thing. Whereas when we have people who are like you were talking about earlier, like born, where men are there but not there, right? They're absent, don't have a relationship with mom. It then becomes this thing that is not genuine. I got to take care of everything for you. But in the mind of the kids, they know that there's another person who could take care of it. Why are they not taking care of it? And they don't know why. They take whatever the knowledge they get and they go with that and they focus everything. That's where you see kids become very enmeshed with the one parent and ostracize the other parent because they don't understand why the other parent doesn't do certain things. And when they and the sad part, I just say the one last thing. The sad part is sometimes when that parent tries to infiltrate himself into that, it sometimes comes out and looks negative. That even makes the situation worse than if he was just standing on the sideline. When he try to charge the field of the game, it's worse than if he just stood on the sideline and was clapping and cheering and waiting for the players to come into the stands and celebrate with him.
I'm gonna say this, right? Because there's certain things, but what you said that I feel is the reason why, right? You're correct, and when you say everyone steps in, right, 100%, and then they start to say, "Dads don't know anything anyway. Let me take care of this," right?
Right.
That's the next thing they do. And then when they see that a father steps in and handles it and solves the problem, there's a level of jealousy there. And it's like, oh well, they didn't do that when I did that. What did you do differently? And it's almost like a negative way they ask it, as if, how could you possibly do this and I couldn't? Because it's like an unwritten rule that women are supposed to be the experts of raising kids and fathers don't really know anything about it. Whereas I always say fathers know just as much. It's just that women get more advice than fathers do, right? Because no one's born knowing how to raise a kid. You're both experimenting and hoping that you get it right. So it's two different schools of thoughts. But fathers step in there, and like you're saying, especially when they have to do it by themselves, they do an excellent job.
That has never been my experience. A quick example of what kind of changed my narrative in how I interacted with my kids as they were growing up. I remember one time I could have been in my mid-30s. I just started, it was a transfer. I just started a new position here in South Florida, and was able to get this house. The job provided, a lot of things with the transfer. And so I was anxious to invite my parents down just so they could, hang out, see what their kid was doing. And I remember taking my father to the store or something like that, and just letting him know that, Dad, I'm really trying to do this thing. I'm really, trying to raise. All three of the kids were born. They were at various ages, and my dad said something to me that I never knew I really needed to hear, but it was so powerful. And he only said it that one time. He said, son, I'm proud of you. And I'm like, I'm driving and I'm hearing this, and I've never heard that type of intimate language at all coming from my dad. And man, that resonated with my spirit so much. So I'm like, Dad, thanks, because I'm really trying out here. I'm really trying to be the best, dad I can be. And from that point on, I resigned myself to be as much of an encouragement to my kids as possible as they were growing up, because I didn't know how much I needed it until I got it. I wanted to make sure that they didn't need it, that they got it without having to need it. So as my kids were growing up, I'm constantly, my daughter, international baccalaureate program, graduating with honors. Girl, I'm so proud of you. My son getting into Hampton University as a walk-on football player. Son, I'm so proud of you. All these moments, my youngest son, establishing his acting career and all this other kind of stuff. I made sure that they heard from their dad how significant their achievements are, and that I was genuinely proud of their success and the things that they were able to accomplish. And it was just from that one incident where my father, told me that he was proud of me. And I just never knew how much I needed that. And I guess I say that to say is that, Lightborn, I don't know what he thinks of me as this father or something like that. But, I'm just being transparent. It's that lit a fire under my fatherhoodness to make sure that I would never ever be a discouragement to my kids, even in silence, because my dad was silent. I never knew how he felt about me. I never knew. I know he loved me because he was there, but there was silence. I never verbally heard anything from him until he said something, and that was such a impactful thing in my life that it literally transformed my thought process and how I was going to interact with my kids going further. As I continue to raise them, with their mom. So I guess I say that to say, as fathers, sometimes the inaction, the nonverbalness of our parents can teach us stuff. And it taught me that I'm going to make sure that my kids know and hear from their dad. And I think that may be the reason why they are so interactive with each other. I'm so blessed to be at this age right now, just to watch them interact with one another. I mean, it's like watching a TV show with them. they're so fun to watch because they support one another. You know, if they're sad, they empathize with one another. I mean, it's just amazing to watch. And I often think I'm like, man, I guess I had something to do with that, but I'm like, wow, where did they come from? I have no idea where they come from. So anyway, that experience you were saying, Jay, Robert, I never had that.
I think that again, this conversation. And I have to always bring it back. These conversations are not monolithic, right? Our experiences of how this operates is almost uh, subjective to our experience, and not objective. You know, but a lot of times the idea of how we're supposed to operate becomes objective. Like it is an idea that you should, and this is what happened to you. This is what's going to happen to you. This is how men do this. This is how fathers do that, and they don't take into account of our humanness. I'm somehow I'm almost becoming used to be a solution focused strength-based therapist, but I'm coming a humanistic therapist because I'm realizing that we are losing so much of our human being way, our human thought pattern. The idea to understand that we are not perfect. Nothing we're going to do is perfect, but we can work it out through communication and understanding of who we are and what we are to each other. You know, that's where the part where the mothers and the fathers have to realize what they are to each other. You may not be romantic no more, right? Cool. You may still be you may still be upset that this is not what you wanted, but this is what you got. All of that is fine. But once you can deal and say, hey, this is a human mistake that humans make, and I'm going to continue dealing with you as a human so our child can grow up to be a better human, right? Not just because that's what we're supposed to do, but this is a part of what we say that we are. We were giving. I had an argument. I had a discussion. I had a discussion last night about what we were given as human beings and what our responsibility is. Right? I said that we are not that we're not that, but we are so egotistical that we believe that we're the only people who do that. Because we only like the study of anything is we studied it to tell you about the study of something. Ants don't get to tell us about the ant kingdom and how it operates and how the colony works and all. We don't get that. We only get to study it from our point of view, and we tell you what we think about it and how it operates. When we talk about other mammals, because somehow a lot of human beings don't believe that they're mammals. I don't know how that comes about. That we're, you know, if a typhoon is coming, right? We are oblivious to that. We're standing there still at the beach, drinking pina coladas. All the animals done left. So when these are the kind of things I will say is we are not the almighty being. We strive to be, and remember that what really is supposed to make us the almighty being is our humanity to everything, to animals, to the nature, to the planet, to all those things is what really is supposed to make us mighty. Not that we say that we are because we researched everything, we defined everything, we named everything. And that would happen to fathers sometimes. They get put into these positions of being the almighty and can't be human.
Well, you know, Ron, I want to two things. I'm gonna comment on what Tenny said. I venture to say that everyone on this fatherhood panel did not experience what I said, but I will not discount that there are many fathers who do because of the job that I do in social services. I've seen it, and I had to speak on it. But I was an engaged father. Lightborn was an engaged father. And Ron was an engaged father. So we all, it's not that we experienced it, but we know someone who has. And I within the work that we've done. And so it's very interesting. And I think that what Ron is saying also, you know, when he's saying that we're put into a category separate of who we actually are, it's very true. And I think that because of that, we try to live up to it, or an expectation of it, not allowing us to be humanistic, right? Because if we have a crack in our armor, then everyone else is going to fall apart. And that's the mind frame that we're drilled in with, right? So we have to make sure that we're good, even if we're not, because our spouse isn't good. So we have to be there for them.
Right.
And when it's time for someone to be there for us, who is it, right? And so I think that we all need to just understand, like you're saying, Ron, is that we do have a humanistic aspect to us. We have to understand who we are as a human being, where we fit into the relationship, and who we have as an outlet to talk to. Because oftentimes when you don't have anyone to talk to, you feel alone and you suffer in silence with everyone around you, when there could be several people going through the same thing you're going through, and you can
Well,
have an easy outlet.
well, Gene, let me say two things. First, I'm going to come back to Tenny, but I'm going to say what you said. And there's no perfect example. If people want to have an example of it, is in Black Panther, when Black Panther was thrown off of T'Challa was the protector of his people, his family. When he was thrown off the cliff by Killmonger and was wherever he was, whatever, who brought him back? It was his family and his close friends who brought him back. And this is the part that we have to, as men, begin to understand. Because I watched the movie, the son was popular, he came, but he was hurting so bad that he wouldn't let his family even get involved to heal him. We have to understand that we can only do so much, but remember, our village, not just kids, the kids don't just need the village. We, as the men in the village, need the village.
Agreed.
As well. We need the village to rebuild us up so we can protect the village and continue to go and not feel like we have to do it on our own, do it on our own, because this is a part that's killing us most of the time. Now, back to the Tenny's, as I would say,
experience
with his dad. This is 100% a perfect example of learned experience. He learned how important this was based on how he felt when it happened to him. And a lot of us are doing that constantly, not in the same way that Tenny has exposed it, right? He exposed that when his dad told him that, from that point on, it built in his brain to say, this is what I'm supposed to do for my children, right? This is how I should be able to provide this, because not because his dad did it, because he knew how it made him feel. See, this is the part that is so phenomenal, because we hear about this phenomenon, this type of phenomenon all the time, but really sometimes really on a negative to positive aspect, like, oh, I didn't have a dad, I know how that feels, so I'm going to do all of these things to be the dad for my kids, and that's where we know, that's where it normally happens. But in the way that Tenny describes his experience, it was the learned experience of the dad who put the seed in him, even though he wasn't that man. But at some point, he recognized that he needed to put that seed in Tenny, and he built him to the point. And sometimes that might have been even, Tenny, I think about it, is your dad recognizing, finally, as I say this all the time, when I talk about us as being with dads, is we're looking at our own dads and things that they've done. We heal our dads and we don't know. When you were able to have that kind of energy for your kids, he looked at himself and said, this is something I wasn't able to do.
Well,
and
no,
I would tell my son that
I think
I'm so proud of him for that.
But I think it was the perfect time, and Teeny kind of set the tone for everything because I have to look at the environment and I have to look at the circumstances. I think it was the right timing for that whole situation to happen. Teeny said that once he when he had got to a certain particular plateau in his adult life, that he remembered his parents and brought them down and welcomed them into his new life, as an appreciation. And so I only see his dad saying what his dad saying to him as a reciprocation of that appreciation of that particular moment. So that moment was really leading up to that moment. It was just timing. Matter of fact, I'm giving a good example. My mom, she wasn't the type, the nurturing mom. People always say my mom was a very wise woman, very outgoing, very, you know how most parents are big mamas? Well, my mom was a little mama. So I'm just saying when my mom was an entertainer, she's very energetic. She can light up a whole room. That's just my mama. That's just her. Big personality, small woman. But for all the things she ever said about me, she never said years. I mean, she was very proud of me, but she never told me. And I didn't find out that she was proud of me until she passed away. And she did this big show in the Bahamas at that particular time. Big show. I never knew how much of a big celebrity she was. Because, so again, she's my mama. And so she's not a celebrity to me. You know what I'm saying? I would never see her as a celebrity as her child. The dynamics is just, I mean, it's just not going to be what they say. The math is not mathing. Because what she gave to me as a mother, she didn't give to me as an entertainer. But the same level she gave to me as a mother, she gave the world as an entertainer. And guess what? And it came back to her because the whole country did a tribute to her before she passed away. And when she passed away, they did a whole tribute. And that's when I was able to hear how she really felt about me. I have that CD in my car right now, and I play it every so often when I need to hear it. And I'm like, wow, my mama never told me she felt that way about me. She's like, no, because she planted it everywhere else. And so once I got to actually hear her say it on a national radio show on how she really felt about me, it was the closure that I needed, you understand, to really let her move on and to let me move on as well as
yeah, but son. You know, Lightborn, as you say that, I think that this is so important. I think that we're going to probably have to have this show a generation show, transgenerational show, because your mom never said it because she was almost maybe taught not to say it, right? And
no, that's not. And let me correct that. That's not true. My mom never said it because she knew her son. And what I mean by she knowing her son is because remember I told you I can be confident and I can be a little overconfident at times, and then to be honest, in some cases I can be a little arrogant at times. When your parent know you, they know you. And she said, you know, no, because if I tell him at this particular time in his life, he has the personality to think that he's arrived. That's how wise she was and I'm gonna be honest, she's 100% correct. And so you have to trust the wisdom of your parents to tell you what you need to hear when you need to hear it. But I think we have come to a certain level that we confuse needing to hear something with being entitled to hear it. We think because we accomplish things when we accomplish things that they need to acknowledge it when they need to acknowledge it. And that's not wisdom. Wisdom says, I'm going to tell you at a particular time in your life when you need to hear it. And that is not right now. And
well, I mean,
I'm going to do you one better, Lightborn, because I agree with what you're saying. But the wisdom is, I'm going to tell you when you've reached the potential I know you could. Because a lot of times you have that that parent that is always complimenting, oh, you know, you do something small, oh my God, you're so smart. You do something, you know, everything is like, oh, this big whoopla, right? But then you have like strategic parents who say, like you said, I know you can do this. I'm going to wait till you get here before I tell you good job. Because if I tell you good job back there, you think you're done. But you're not done. So let me let you arrive before I say good job. And that's strategically placing it so you know that you're setting that bar where you know that potential is. And I think that is understanding and knowing your kids, like you said. And I think that even in Teeny's story, that when the dad said what he said, it's because you've arrived. You've invited me where I knew you belong because now you're a man and you've made it. I'm proud of you. Right. You see what I'm saying? Right. So it's about understanding also for me that what we see as parents in our kids, we know they can achieve it. And when they finally achieve it, we're telling them, hey, you know what? I knew you were going to get here. I was just waiting for you to meet me where you were supposed to meet me at.
Well, I mean, also, Gene, that's why I said so much about transgenerational and being generational. Like when we look at the history of what Black parents had to do for their children, some Black parents had to oppress their children so they could protect them. It's so many things that in the struggle of Black family that parents had to do so many strategic things to listen. Do you think that if Emmett Till's mother, I use this example, Emmett Till's mother would have been maybe more like stern on him about being self-confident, because he was a very self-confident guy, outgoing. When he got down south, that worked good in Chicago, and it made him a real likable guy, a real likable kid that everybody liked, a lot of friends. But that didn't work in the deep south of where he went. And when he did that, that put him in danger. And this is what we sometimes will pretend, not pretend, sometimes we forget that is our history. And our parents had to they didn't have a simple, could just, let me think about what school you're going to, and the world is all made for you. Everybody going to see you the right way. Everybody going to be a friend. The parents didn't have that ability. They had to really struggle to figure out what was best. Sometimes dads had to go and be away so you could have a safe family. I mean, these are the kind of things that people will, I feel like people kind of forget and glaze over, of that would make Tenny's dad, at the time that he's seen him being successful, say, I'm proud of you. Or knowing that Lightborn's mother didn't tell him, even though she was, and she told other people, because she couldn't keep it to herself. Because I remember being a kid, my own kid, is having this idea of listening to my mother talk to her friends about their children. And all she could ever say was, Ron doing good. And I used to think that, I felt so good. I felt, as I listened to their conversation in the other room, I felt good that in my mom's aspect of what I could do for her would be a good kid compared to her friends' kids. That she didn't have to she could always have a positive thing to say to her friends about me. He doing good in school. He in this. He doing that. And that motivated me to do those things. She didn't know that, but I didn't also, I knew that she was, she also was not telling people about what I was doing, because he probably was very conscious about that idea of, but she was listening. I sure heard about her friends' children, and it was doing so much. I was like, boy, I'm glad I'm not like that. I'm glad I'm trying to do and that motivated me to do the right thing. I ain't do everything right, but I looked like I was doing everything right. So,
hey, Ron, you at time, baby. I got to go.
I got it. I got you at time. That's so.
I like that. Okay, Ron. All right.
I was just looking at the clock. Again, want to thank Zeta Chi chapter for their support tonight, as always, and JAG attorney at law, Miami-Dade, Broward, and West Palm Beach. If you're trying to get in touch with attorney Johnny A. Gaspar, you can hit him on his number, 305-827-8087, or JAG attorney at law, or hit his website, see what kind of law he practices at www.jag1law.com. And we listen, all like I said, this was a powerful conversation tonight. With that being said, I want to definitely thank the stalwarts, the trustees. Now I call y'all the trustees of the Fatherhood Think Tank. They're here live, and the deacons, the trustees, the board members. Without them, we wouldn't be having this conversation, and we wouldn't have been able to really let you be liking and sharing and subscribing the way you're able to do. With that being said, I'll see you here next week. Want to thank everybody for watching. Thank these guys for sharing their experience as fathers. And remember that we're here to talk about fathers, for fathers, about fathers. With that being said, fathers, repeat after me. I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a man of honor.
I am a man of honor.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a man of courage.
I am a man of courage.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a man of respect.
I am a man of respect.
Fathers, I said that I am.
I am.
I say that you are.
You
are.
I say that we are.
We are.
Championship And with that being said, folks, as you see, we keep our arms high, holding our kids on our arms, our families on our backs. Until next week, when we see you again here at the Fatherhood Think Tank, I want to thank you for joining us. And definitely remember, tell a father that you're proud of him. We heard how it feels today. Tell a father, go and tell your father, tell a father that you're proud of. Now, don't go take lightborn mothers way. Don't tell them if they ain't doing good. Don't just tell them they proud of. Just take it and then saying, see, somebody told me I'm good, but you're not good. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. With that being said, I want to thank everybody for joining us. We'll see you here again next week on the Fatherhood Think Tank. Good night.
Good night.
All right, fellas.
All right, fellas.